business called Parkway Hospitality. I've also established the Maryland Center for Hospitality Training here in Baltimore as well. So.
I'm Dana Moore. I'm an attorney here in Baltimore. Work with Casey and associated with Skip almost from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
John Wilson, National Grid Boxing.
I'm Dr. Joanne Martin, founder along with my late husband, Dr. Ellen Martin, of America's First Black History Wax Museum, the National Great Wax and Wax Museum.
And you had a question or a comment?
Yes. My late husband, Dr. Ellen Martin, who was the visionary for the museum, I want to share a part of that vision because so much of what you've been talking about is a part of that vision. Many of you know that we've gotten beaten up about making the deliberate choice to stay in our fragile community, Oliver community, that we see tourism as a means for addressing many of the problems and helping to bring a challenged, fragile community back to life. People like Casey, who works closely with us, knows and can tell you about the buses that line up. So we've been able to show that tourism can thrive in that area, in an area that everybody felt, it was crazy for us to stay in, and many people still do. John can verify that over 65% of our visitors come from out of state. And they come to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. They're not finding their way accidentally to us. They come to the museum and then say what else is there for us to do. And we develop partnerships with Apples and Oranges and with Casey and many of others of you, and looking for other opportunities to develop partnerships so that tourism that we've been able to show will thrive in our fragile community as we attempt to expand. And a part of my frustration is that there are none so blind as they who won't see. We began in 1995 purchasing all of the buildings in the block. We own half of the properties in the 1500 block, all of the buildings in the 1600 block. We demolished 53 properties in the rear of the museum to create a block, a multi-district area that is where tourism is at the heart. We work with kids and people on any number of levels. So when you talk about families, for example, we just finished our docent training program for youth age 16 to 21. We tell the schools and anybody who will listen to us, don't send us your A and B students. Everybody wants those students, but it's just as challenging for a student who can raise his grade from an F to a C as one who makes A's all the time. Perhaps more challenging. So those are the students that we want. We whip them into a frenzy, build up their enthusiasm. They become docents, and then there we are. We can't hire them, except that now we found through our extended tour to be able to hire many of them. For the family members that you're talking about, many of the programs send them to the museum as a part of a tour. Many of them are re-entering, and they're going to hear Elmer's message from the ancestors that says we didn't die by the millions for you to kill one another by the thousands. They're going to see me come in with the slave chains and talk about the frightening parallels between the slave ship and the penitentiary, where in both cases you're taken away in chains and given a number and branded, in one case a slave and in one case a criminal, and so forth. And there also, we just had a young man who was doing community service. He made inquiries about where he could do his community service. He was turned away. He talked to someone. He said, go to Great Blacks and Wax. They will let you do your community service there. So being able to address those kinds of issues. But the vision is, imagine that we're on Asquith Street and there is a visitor center. Again, tourism as the center of this. There is a visitor center where they can come in and learn to be tour guides, where they're going to do a walking tour of a community that's revitalized, or a shuttle bus tour to places that we go now, like Orchard Street Church and Hampton Mansion and Towson and NAACP, and stop by Darker Than Blue and have lunch, or have Casey come in.
Waffles with fried chicken.
Have Casey come in, which is what we do now in expanding that. And then in the